If you want to start a striping business, what are the first 3 steps that you should do? In this video, I'm going to tell you what I would do if I was starting a new business in striping in 2024. What's good, people? Thank you so much for listening and or watching today. This video is brought to you by our good friends at Mighty Line Floor Tape, mightylinetape.com. Check them out. You can actually get a free sample kit just by listening to this show. Details are on their website and on our page. All right. What are the 3 steps that I would do if I were starting a striping business in 2024? So in our last video, we briefly mentioned why I think it's a good idea you should start a striping business. What would you tactically do though? So I came up with 3 things that I would do if I was starting out today. Number 1, I would do proof of concept or market research. So basically what that looks like is you going to people and finding out, like, who do you know in your circle who could benefit from this service? So one thing that I did when I started way back in 2018, which isn't that long ago, I went to people that I knew for a fact had struggled to hire someone for striping before. That was my old boss. So I literally went to my old employer and I was like, hey, remember me? I'm thinking of starting this striping thing. What are the chances that if I got a striping machine, you would hire me? And like literally before I was even done the question, he's like, dude, yes, we would totally get you to stripe the mall. You already know the property. We don't like the other guy. There was only one other guy in my market. So that was super helpful. And then what I would do is, like, I was working a day job when I started my striping business. So I would, just reach out to anyone and everyone, like people that I knew through work, people I know who had a storefront or business. If I knew any property managers, I'd reach out to them. The first new layout job I ever got was literally me driving home in my work truck. And I pulled into a hotel that I saw was getting repaved. And I went to the hotel manager and I was like, probably already have this looked after, but here's what I do. And then 3 weeks later, she ended up calling. So just putting your word out there to as many people as possible and trying to find out who needs this service. And I would call as many people as possible, visit as many people as possible. Just find out, get a pulse for who's going to need your work. I almost guarantee you're going to find someone who's like, this would be very helpful. I would love to hire you. You really just want to get in front of as many people as possible. Number 2, I would get educated on striping. It's still not the easiest thing in the world to do, but there's a few things out there that you can find online, even for free, to help you, or some paid things as well. Striping is not complicated. Like, if you're like me and you've never done striping before, not only do you have to start the business, but now you have to figure out how to actually work the thing. I can tell you from personal experience, it is very, it's a simple thing to learn. Like, with enough practice, anyone can stripe. I'm convinced of that. It's not insanely difficult, but it would be nice to get educated beforehand on how to actually do it. So if you want some free stuff, I'd say check out our stuff, right? Yeah, we got some stuff. Yeah, check out our stuff on YouTube. We talk about striping. Some of the earlier podcast episodes that we've done for the Stripe It Like It's Hot podcast were all about striping, so you can find some good things there. That's my shameless plug. Facebook groups are very helpful. There's a lot of cranky and cantankerous and ornery people on there, so you kind of have to just, put up with the internet and all of its crap. But some of the line striping Facebook groups are very helpful. You'll see videos, you'll see a ton of questions that people are asking. Just a great way to learn. One of the things I recommend the most, though, is get the book, How I Stripe Parking Lots by Myself by Dan Zurcher. Dan, his book is how I got started. Before I even bought the machine, I found his book online, bought a copy, and I would literally bring it to job sites. Very, very helpful, this book. If you want to listen to the interview I did with Dan, that's almost 3 years ago now, but I think it's one of the first 5 episodes of the Stripe It Like It's Hot podcast. He's a fantastic dude. Buy the most current edition of his book, and it will really, really help you get educated. And then number 3, in the 3-step program to starting the striping business, I would go sell striping jobs now. Even if you don't have the equipment, and some people hate this. I personally would have had a hard time doing this way back when, so I realize it's not the easiest thing in the world. But go sell contracts now if you're convinced that you are going to buy the machine and you're going to figure it out. Even if you haven't got the machine in your parking or in your driveway yet, even if you haven't, taken out for a spin and done some test shots with water, don't panic. I would still sell the contracts now. What I've learned over the years is it's a lot easier to figure out how to do the thing after it's sold, but it's a lot harder to actually sell the contracts. And it's not like you're going to lie to people either. Like, don't get me wrong. You're not going to tell people, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow, even though you don't have your machine. Like, you can tell people, like, I'm just getting started. I'm not going to be able to get here until, May, maybe June, July, but I want to work with you and I'm going to deliver what you want. Are you okay to wait until May the 20th or whatever date you have to get your machine and your stuff set up? Give yourself a little bit of time, obviously, to get familiar with the machine, but don't hesitate to sell those contracts. I always ask myself, what's the worst case scenario? So if I've sold like 3 striping jobs and I'm starting this business and then something went terribly wrong where I lost all my money in a pyramid scheme and now I can't afford to buy the machine. Worst case is you go to those people and you say, look, I know I said I was going to do this. I had something go terribly wrong. I'm not going to be able to, but here's the name of a company that could do it for you. If that's the worst case scenario, it ain't that bad. If you wait to sell contracts until you have absolutely everything in place and you've practiced, it might be too late. You might leave a lot of money on the table. Go sell the contracts now. So if any of those things freak you out, get in touch with us and I'll help you out. But I'm very bullish on starting a striping business in 2024. I think it's a great thing to do. And if you do some proof of concept, get educated, and go sell the contracts, you could set yourself up for a really good first year in striping. Keep your stripes hot. Talk to you next week.